Alright, all you music makers, video game players, entertainers, streetlight crusaders, midnight capers, listeners of the madness, and we might as well include a couple of you late night drivers, graveyard shift workers, and I do believe the telemarketers that couldn't call in. Did we cover all the bases, Maestro? We did? Alright. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 20th edition of A Work in Progress. I am your Milestone host from the East Coast, DJ Smokey, and my God, we almost forgot that we hit 20 episodes for this beautiful, and I do mean beautiful, beautiful program. So to celebrate that, folks, we got a jam-packed show for you tonight, and I've written it down for once to try to keep on track for things before things get all random, weird, and crazy for this very broadcast. So to kick things off, folks, one thing that I did whilst trying to prepare for this show prior for it going on, and it's probably one of the creepiest things I've seen happen to date, and it had to do with a game called, Condemned 2 Bloodshot, a game that we actually reviewed a couple of years back and had a Tales from the Disc for. Sorry, English is a little bit bad today. And apparently, during the second mission of the game, and we might as well include this for a little miniature video game story for this show, folks, while we were making our way up the stairs, taking out bad guys, bum rushing people in the face with shotguns, throwing weapons at people's faces, and even taking somebody out with a meth lab, we also ran up the stairs to the point where we were supposed to go across these railroad tracks to get to the next part. But when we tried to climb down the ladder, we got stuck, walked back, and then walked forward and started walking in the air. So I think Ethan, the guy who was in the game, who was the main antagonist, or should I say the main character for the game, is now a Skywalker. Ethan Skywalker. I like the name. It has a good ring to it. But either way, the game got glitched. We got a little bit delayed trying to do this show, and we've been trying to figure out how to fix it for the past 15 minutes, and no dice. But somebody who is currently playing this game as we speak on YouTube, somebody who we usually watch after each one of our shows, Vash12349, is currently playing Condemned 2 for YouTube, and it's pretty interesting. Not only because of the different ways he takes people out, but also the funny ways he's able to do it as well. And not to mention, I do believe this would be the first time he would play this game on YouTube, which is pretty cool too. But besides YouTube moments and glitched out games, folks, another thing that we were able to do prior to this show going on the air was listen to the soundtrack of a game that we had a chance to play as well called Hong Kong Massacre. And I've been trying to figure out for the longest amount of time, who in the world was that skilled at musical genius to actually put together a cool soundtrack for this Max Payne, John Woo, Wachowski brothers collaboration of a game that I got a feeling if they ever come up with a movie for it, Jet Li would play the lead. That's the only guy I could see. Neither that or the guy who was a part of the Raid series or the other guy who was in the Bone Collector series. Or Bak, I think it was called. I'm probably saying it wrong, but yeah, that series where the guy did that tiger knee like Sagat and knocked that woman off that helicopter and landed all the way down onto the top of the elephant remains. Yeah, that movie. And by the way, I need to review that movie come January because that was the craziest thing I've ever seen in a martial arts film besides The Raid. And we technically reviewed that movie one day too. So yeah, somewhere around the Year of the Fist. And yes, as a little bit of a spoiler, folks, it is coming back for next year. Yeah, we're going to review that movie. Bak. And I know I'm saying it wrong and the maestro's shaking his head, so we're going to move on. I recommend a couple of you out there go play Hong Kong Massacre too, by the way. So make sure you get your hands on that. I think it's about $20 maybe less now, but either way, a very fun game filled with a lot of gung fu action, Matrix slow motion deal, and I think a little hint of Max Payne revenge in there too. So yeah, I can definitely see that being a movie. Will Mark Wahlberg be anywhere near it? Who knows? But besides all of that, folks, we have some video game news. And that's the loudest we can do in the middle of the night, folks, because one major video game news story that we forgot to mention for Under the Radar, the Tuesday Night Special, Music Village, and any other show that we do is that the Alpha 18 build for 7 Days to Die is officially out as we speak. Now, granted, it's still an unstable build, and the actual real version of Alpha 18 will be coming out in later months. Most likely, I'm gonna calculate another 2 or 3 months. I could be wrong. You could check the patch notes. But the cool thing about this is, folks, is not only they added foxes, I think mountain lions, and a whole bunch of very interesting weapons. One of the coolest things they had for the patch notes for this game is the fact that they now have the double-barreled shotgun. So if I ever wanted to be Jericho from Driver 2, I can be him. Except the fact, oh wait, yeah, they do got the leather luster, the leather duster. So excited, I am tripping on my own words, folks. And another cool thing that they said they had in this game, besides the double-barrel shotgun, the light machine gun that you get a chance to use to mow down zombies if you're running into a hardcore night by yourself, they also announced that they added a door-breaching shells for the guns and even something called a junk turret. Now, for anybody who played 7 Days to Die on the earlier versions and had to use electricity to get a whole bunch of bullets together and try to hopefully get the zombie to actually walk in the sight of the laser and boom, 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 and hopefully the gas doesn't run out on the electricity and you lose your turret, this does not need gas or anything. It's basically like one of those turrets from, I guess, Axel? I'm keep on forgetting the name of the characters from Borderlands, but it's like that guy who has the turret in the second Borderlands game, which I don't remember right now, which is a shame because I played that game this past weekend. It's like him. Just drop a turret on the ground, fill it with a couple of steel bolts, and just fire away. Just as simple as that. And if you're on your own and you have a junk turret, just put it on the ground, you could clear a building out, you're good. So you don't need electricity in your house for that to at least help you out. I mean, of course you will need electricity for lights and stuff, but still, it's pretty cool invention. And another thing they added into this game, which I really do love a lot, is the fact that they have something called a little C4 package bomb you could use to throw at a door, blow a door open, neither that or demo an entire building using these bombs. So if you see a building filled with zombies that you don't want to take on, just stick a couple of them all around the building and you can demo it like something out of Vegas. Yeah. That's what I think it will look like when it goes tumbling down in brick block form. Yeah. But either way, folks, there's a lot of cool things here on the patch notes for 7 Days to Die for their Alpha 18 experimental build, and I'm really digging it. Really am. And here's hoping in the near future for Alpha 19, and I'm really, and I mean really hoping in the near future that they finally add the ability for you to actually use pipes underground to lead to a water source to your house to bring water into your home. Because one of the negatives about this game, but I got a feeling the true survivor in you would probably love it, is the fact that you can't drink boiled water anymore without getting dysentery. And for those who don't know what that is, if you played, I think, the Oregon Trail, that leads to bad news. It really does. It messes you up a lot. So tea and I do believe coffee is king in the new version of Alpha 18, and I really do got a feeling the day I go back to Alpha 18 or back to 7 Days to Die, chances are I'm gonna probably get attacked by a whole bunch of wolves again. Cause the last time I played it, like I said before, got attacked by wolves, got attacked by a whole bunch of random hordes that ran by my house, and not to mention almost had a near-death cave-in one of the tunnels that I built. And the saddest part about this new upgrade, I think it got rid of my old save where I built a 5.5-mile long tunnel leading to the Red Mesa military base. But on the plus side, they have some new point of interest that you can go toward, and along with the other weapons we told you about, folks, they also got spears, stun batons, baseball bat, stone sledgehammers, and a whole bunch of other neat things that you could use to help you out, including a new bow that I got a feeling that Katniss Everdeen would have used in the Hunger Games. Would she, Maestro? Oh, according to the Maestro, yeah, she would. And seeing the fact that the patch notes is longer than all hell, folks, if you guys out there want to check out the complete patch notes, which is just about, 8 pages long, I think? I'm not sure. We didn't count the cutoff. You can head on over to the website only known as 7daystodie.com, A18 official release notes, to check it out for yourselves. And yes, for you YouTube fans out there, we will be putting a link down below for you to check out the complete Natch notes. Once again, folks, overly excited about this episode, tripping over our words. It will be happening more than once, and no, I'm not intoxicated. But yeah, go over there, check out the patch notes. You'll definitely enjoy it. But aside from all of that, and back to the point we made earlier about Hong Kong Massacre and the music, the guy who did the music was named Professor Click, and we were able to listen to that music, jump back into the worlds of The Sims again, and redesign the house that we had for a family that we had a long time ago called the Riches. And this family was a family that explored all over the place, did everything, and unfortunately, because I had to switch computers, I lost all the bullion and gold in the basement, but kept the money. So I think I have well over 14, maybe $18 million stored away to go and try to dig up my backyard again for all the gold ingots and try to build a Legends of the Hidden Temple basement in that house to try to, keep out intruders. The top floor of the house is just for show. It's the basement where all the action is. And I think I added I'm trying to remember. It was a stage, a disco floor, and I think a performing stage on the 3rd floor right by the pool. Yeah. I might have to modify that by later on tonight, but I digress. That's a thing in the future that we'll go over, because the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is another edition of Phantasy Star Online Blue Burst News. And the major news we have for you this time, folks, is that we finally got a confirmed date for the end of the Triforce event, which will be on Halloween. Yes, that's right, folks. You have till Halloween to obtain any of the cool weapons that are featured on this very list that we're going to read. From not only a boomerang, Centurion Power, Centurion Resist, Master Sword, Ganon Shield, Sacred Bow, Great Fairy Sword, Stealth Sword, which reminds me of the sword from, I think it was Thundar of Barbaria? That weird one with the guy with the laser sword who was a caveman. It's a cool show. I recommend you watch it. I'm not sure if they show it on Boomerang or not. They might have gotten rid of all the old cartoons, but look that up online. Thundar of Barbaria, definitely a cool show. But back to the list, the Zelda magazine, the bug catching net, the fire rod, And I think that's it. Oh yeah, Centurion power, arms, and I think Godric's ability as well, which is another one of those weird abilities that you can get in this game that I think is one of the troll items, along with the bug net. Could be wrong. But either way, folks, they have officially posted a list of IDs that can get these certain items that you can get as we speak. But the one disappointing thing I could say about all this is, since I have a character that's a skylight and usually go after swords, because I've deemed myself a sword hunting master. Oh wait, I had a cooler thing than that. What was it, Maestro? Oh, the King of Swords is what I'm going for. But unfortunately for this event, all the swords are under the blue full or yellow bows IDs, which means it's going to be a bit of a problem for me to get. Oh yeah, also green nil, because one of the main swords that I'm still trying to go for this event has to be, I do believe, the Master Sword. Yeah, the Master Sword. And now the new reason I'm going for it is because a lot of people told me that it's usable by all classes, still has the same effect of, I do believe, the SJS that I already have, and it adds a boost to magic, which will help out with the new character I have named Dr. Curse, which I may create a comic book for or a story for before the end of the year. Yeah, Dr. Curse and Dr. Mask. I can come up with something before the end of the year. Definitely I can. But before I get any further sidetracked, folks, if you guys want to check out the complete list of IDs that can get certain weapons so you can tag team with your buddies to get them, you can head on over to the website only known as FantasyStarOnline.net under the forums section for the unofficial Triforce 2019 event drop chart to check it out for yourselves. And aside from all of that, folks, we might as well tell you what our mid-month plans are so far for the following shows that we're going to do for this week. Yeah, I think you guys earned it, especially seeing the fact that this show is late by several hours and days and minutes, and according to what the Maestro's holding up, seconds. Thank you for making me feel even worse, Maestro. Thank you. So for this Monday, we still go back into the world of the weird world of sports, and that's the only thing I can reveal for that show because everything else might as well be random. Then for the Tuesday night special, we still try to figure out what's going on for Monday Night Raw, and alongside with it, we will give you guys the inside scoop of all the draft picks that did take place during this week's major draft that took place on SmackDown and for Monday Night Raw too. And oh, along with that, we go back into Mother Goose's Black Book for another edition of the Mother Goose's Untold Tales, which I think for this week is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Yep, we're heading down to the wire for these stories, folks, so just as a warning, viewer discretions have been advised, because this one's gonna get gruesome. And along with that, folks, for this Friday's edition of Music Village, we do another classic edition of the DJ Smokey's Tales from the Disc. And along with that, we answer your questions at home for another edition of Axe the DJ. And Axe as in Axe as in that thing you use to chase people around with in the woods or to chop wood. Yeah, the best description we can have for it during this horror month. And speaking of Hatchet, I keep forgetting the name of the guy who actually filmed the movie Hatchet. He had a series where he actually did a sleepover with Tony Todd, and he admitted one of his fears was the fact of saying Candyman 5 times in a mirror. And when the episode ended, and it's absolutely hilarious, he actually said Candyman 5 times, said goodnight to Tony Todd, and Tony went back to his Candyman days and decided to say good night in the creepy voice that Candyman would, scaring the crap out of him, basically. Now, I keep forgetting the name of the page that it's on, folks, but we will have that for you before the end of the night because Maestro is searching for it as we speak. Thank you. And, oh, yeah, I think it's called Spooky Sleepover or Undead Speak. Yeah, Spooky Sleepover. Adam Green Spooky Sleepover. Search that up on YouTube. You'll definitely find it. And I think it's under the page of Adam Green. You'll be in the right place. And trust me, he interviews some very cool horror movie legends, including the late great, and I do mean great, Captain Spaulding, who was featured during the movie Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. And by the way, for the 90th episode of the Indie Radio Arcade this next upcoming weekend, we will be reviewing the Devil's Rejects, and I got a feeling that's gonna be one of my most favorite Rob Zombie movies of all time. I mean, there's others, but that one definitely is on the top of my list. And besides all of that show planning stuff, folks, as I flip the page over and Maestro's laughing because I'm flipping a page on an open microphone for notes, unfortunately, and this is something I want to discuss with you guys because we usually write down a whole bunch of plans in the background for Music Village and what have you, and we just recently found our old tablet covered in dust that had our plans from 2 years ago with all the video game stories / Tales from the Disc, and the one we told last Friday for, I do believe, Champions of Norath Return to Arms, that was supposed to be a Tales from the Disc 2 years ago, but unfortunately we lost our notes on the story, had to improvise, and actually bring it back to life now, because it was originally recorded on the tablet, but the tablet erased it. I don't know how in the world it did it, but it erased it. So, the fact that we were able to share that video game story, or should I say, Tales from the Disc for you last week was definitely something magical. And I got a feeling by the end of it all, we're gonna come up with a Tales from the Disc so creepy, it's definitely not gonna be on YouTube. I got a feeling. Could be wrong. I could be wrong. But besides that bit of spooky business that will take place in the near future, folks, I think it's time for us to check out a couple of cool indie games in screenshot form for a segment that we're going to call on this show the Curios section. It sounded cooler in my head, but it's screenshots that come from the Twitter page of OctoCurio. So the first screenshot that we have up comes from Amita Design with their game, Amita Design, or the game known as Pilgrims. But they look like cavemen. Right. But either way, folks, this game automatically reminds me with the screenshot that they provided a little hint of not only Monty Python, but a little splash in there of the way things work. And the funniest screenshot they have on the screen so far that keeps flipping past is the guy that tries to fish, the other guy who tries to open a drawbridge and nearly breaks his neck, and the old woman who tries to kick the sea only for a frog to come out and scare her half to death. Very Monty Python, except no giant oversized foot. Right. Next screenshot we have up, folks, comes from none other than Drop Dead Bears, or according to what the Maestro said, Drop Bear Bites. Nice name, by the way, and even a cool picture of a koala hiding in the dark with their game, Broken Roads. And this game automatically reminds me of a combination of Dead Nation with a little hint of Z Nation in there as well. And here's hoping in the near future for this game with the screenshots that shows you going from town to town collecting resources and trying to survive in open areas, especially with a giant oversized broken down plane, is that you can salvage a couple of these things to make a vehicle. Because I got a feeling all that walking around is going to get dangerous when neither you run into zombies or some form of rad scorpion or even, I guess, bandits. Who knows? And according to the Maestro, we just described Fallout, so he said we might as well say it reminds us of Fallout 2. But Fallout didn't have 4 players playing at once. Fallout 76? Nope, we'll just go with Fallout. And the next screenshot that we have up comes from none other than Invisible RPG with their game, Invisible RPG. And with the anime styles that they have and the different forms of combat that she could do, especially with all those cool wall jumps and that cool Pete Townsend slide she did underneath that tight space, reminds me of a combination of Avatar: The Last Airbender with a little hint of, I was gonna say Totoro, but no. But it does remind me of the anime style of Totoro. It really does. And here's hoping in the near future for this game, and I really do hope they have it, is the ability for you to do a special attack to take out your enemies. And Maestro said flip to page 6, and wow, that's cool. The ability to turn into a human flaming windmill is definitely a cool special attack. And the last but not least screenshot that we have up for this week comes from the Twitter page of Twirlbound with their game, Twirlbound. Nice. And according to the Maestro, it is not called Twirlbound, it's called Pine. Oh, I remember this game. For anybody who listens in to the Tuesday night special or for the Foursquare Delight, we've been following this game for the longest amount of time with giant oversized tree people and a chance to fight out in the middle of the woods to take them on. And it looks like they finally have released the game. So congratulations, Twirlbound, for this game. And not to mention, this game now reminds me a lot of Fate. Really does remind me of Fate, and the fact that he's about to take on a giant oversized mastodon of some sort, yep, definitely reminds me of Fate. And here's hoping in the near future that he has something to defend himself with against that giant oversized raging mastodon that looks to probably pound his head in with a giant oversized club that I got a feeling Captain Caveman would use. Or would he? He's definitely got to use a giant club. I mean, look at the size of that thing. I mean, you can't, but I can see it. But if you guys do want to see any of these cool screenshots and whatnots from the world of Octo Curio, you can head on over to the Twitter page of the Squidman himself, only known as @OctoCurio, to check it out for yourselves. And trust me, folks, he has screenshots every single day coming down the tubes for you to check out and marvel over like I would. And I'm still marveling over the one with the mastodon trying to take on the little boy. It's mind-blowing to me. And now, time for us to head on over to the high scores from this past weekend from the Twitter page of @HighScore. And Maestro said he's a little bit worried because we might not have enough high scores to mention for this upcoming Indie Radio Arcade level 90 experience. But we will. Don't worry about it. We will have enough high scores to mention. So the first high score that we have up comes from G Tibble with his high score of 327,080, a part of the Candy Crush mobile game of Candy Crush Saga level 37. Very impressive. Then he comes back again with another mobile game of Bejeweled Stars level 16 with his high score of 321,100. Not bad. And to try to compete with that, we have Speedy 4759123 with his high score of 207,360, a part of the Candy Crush Saga game of, well, Candy Crush Saga under level 60. Next high score we have up after that comes from Retro Rob with his high score of 3,274, a part of the video game of Pac-Man 256 for the PS4. They made another Pac-Man game for the PS4? I need to pick that up. But most importantly, when are they going to make another Dig Dug game? When is that going to get the respect it deserves? Maestro's holding up a sign saying someday, and I believe that. So, next high score we have up once again from Retro Rob with his high score of 1,239,600 from the video game Pinball Arcade Taxi for the PS4. So they turned Crazy Taxi into a pinball game? Huh. Cool. Next high score we have up comes from Zilch Sr. with his high score of 12 for the video game known as Indy 500 Game 4 for the Atari 2600. And I think I played the Super Nintendo version of this game, but I could be wrong. Anyway, next high score we have up comes from Darren9999 with his high score of 306,500 from the video game Candy Crush Saga level 147. On the computer, too. Nice. Alright, next high score we have up after that comes from Pessimister. Cool name, by the way, even though I got it wrong on the first time out, with his high score of 1,393,510, a part of the game known as Raiden DX for the training mode. Not bad. And the last but not least high score, and Maestro said this one's a big one, but I don't believe him. And wow. Oh my god, I think it beat the high score, folks, because the high score that we have up now, and according to the Maestro, it is a new record that comes from Omargeddon. Nice, Omargeddon, nice. With his high score of 36,098,350, a part of the Game Boy Advance game of Pinball Advance under the Daredevil level with only 3 balls on hard difficulty. And he did it on hard difficulty, folks, so that lets you know he was definitely trying to go home for the gold. Or go home with the gold. Either way, he's going home a winner. And if you guys want to check out any other cool high scores that are currently coming through the Twitter feed as we speak, and trust me, we just got another 9 while we were trying to do this, you can go ahead and head on over to the Twitter page of one man only known as @HighScore, or head on over to their website known as highscore.com to win cool prizes for your high scores. And like we say all the time during this part of the show, folks, is a fair trade. And the new, and I'll say it again, new high score to beat on the top of the mountain comes from none other than Omargeddon with his high score of 36,098,350, a part of the Game Boy Advance game of Pinball Advance Daredevil 3 with only 3 balls under hard difficulty. And yes, we messed up the game title, but the high score still stands. So Maestro, if you will, put it on the giant ticker above the calendar. Alright, thank you. We'll keep that up there until somebody's able to beat it. Will they be able to beat it this upcoming Saturday for our Milestone edition of the Indie Radio Arcade? Who knows? Who knows? But trust me, I will be looking, because this is exciting to me. And aside all of the exciting high scores that we were able to mention, folks, it is now time for us to put on our fancy aristocrat glasses and check out some cool homes from the world of The Sims for another edition of the lifestyles of the digitally rich and famous. And the first home that we have up, folks, comes from the creator Zakonakas or Zach Nokaz? You know what? Zach Nokaz. We'll go with that. With his house entitled Anna. And for some strange reason, with this house, I'm automatically reminded of that episode of Married with Children with Bud, or should I say Al Bundy, with that album that had that song Go With Him. And it turned out the song name was Anna, hence the house name. I know they're not related, Maestro, but I'm trying to tie it all in together to make it seem that I'm not going insane. But regardless, folks, this house, which is a 2-bedroom, nay, strike that, 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, is definitely a cool house for you to live in a 1-level apartment complete with garage. And as a little bit of a warning, there's not enough room for you to play around with to actually add in a garage unless you want to actually try to alter the house itself. So if you're looking for a cool starter home for your kids and for you to live in, this is definitely the home for you. And not to mention a very cool starter house to have too, under 35 by 25 property extensions. So yeah, if you want to build upon it going upwards, you can. But it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to build anything around it, seeing the fact that it takes up all 35 by 25 inches or feet of the said home. And before I stumble on any more of my words for these homes, folks, the next house that we got up, or should I say mansion with that car in the garage, comes from the creator Kaz8630 with his house, My House 104. And I got a feeling he probably got a little bit of spending money from the Brotherhood of Steel to make this said house. And the only reason we're making that joke is because, yeah, it has 104 in it. But this house, my God, giant oversized swimming pool in the back, 3 floors, 4 bedrooms, and 2 baths to make this beautiful house made of glass that I got a feeling that Tony Stark would live in. And to make things even better, folks, the 2 houses in the front of this said house is, I think, a Lamborghini and another very expensive car. So if you're looking for a house that you have to pour a lot of money into without putting anything into it, this is the home for you. And not to mention, it does leave a little bit of room in the front so you can add a basement to it. So if you want to add a basement to this said house, it's good. It's definitely good. So you can definitely extend upon it going downwards and even upwards if you want to. But it may be a little bit tricky with that top floor. But either way, still a cool house. And the next house that we have up comes from the creator Indie Kid 28, nice name by the way, with their house Mansion de Famille, or de Famille. Well, it's in French. Either way, folks, it's a beautiful house that comes with, and I kid you not, its own stable for the horse, even a cool swimming pool in the back with well over 4 to 5 rooms in this said house. And the reason why we lost count on the said rooms on this said home, folks, is because halfway of trying to live in this said home, we almost got ran out by a whole bunch of zombies. Yeah, that's the downside of this said house. No fencing around the home, so zombies can invade on this said house. So be careful if you have the supernatural pack, because they will be trying to knock on the front door of your home, and don't answer it like the neighbor I had before who I had visit the house when I first went in. Why in the world did he do that? I think he was trying to get me killed on purpose. And before we move on to the next house, folks, a little bit of a warning for all the houses that we're going to talk about for this week. Make sure you have proper fencing around the home before zombies try to get in there. Just a warning. And that warning excludes this next house we're going to mention, folks, which comes from the creator Weighty Sim YMD with his house WS Gothic _ Little House. And it's a little tiny gothic house under a 25 by 25 room, but comes with a very beautiful interior, not only with 3 bedrooms, but 2 baths as well, and even comes with its own makeshift tower. And what you decide to put in that tower, whether it be of witchcraft or artwork of any type, is your own business. I don't judge. And the only other thing I could say that's pretty cool about this house that he decided to do is the fact that he made another version of this said house, so we got a 2-for-1 special to compare and contrast with, folks. And the secondary version comes with a whole bunch of fancy things you can have in this said house, complete with creepy trees and even a fountain in the back to definitely scare the living crap out of your neighbors if they see blood running down it. And then try to go to the town police and say, I saw it. But when they go over there, it's nothing there until it's too late. And then the whole town gets terrorized. Yeah, one of those situations. But definitely a cool house to live in nonetheless. And the last but not least house that we have up for this week after that 2-for-1 special, folks, comes from none other than the creator College Frog, nice name by the way, with their said house Victorial Bass Manor. And this said house comes with 2 common full bathrooms and 1 master bathroom, and a 3-story house with a foundation and a central stairway to all floors. So this fancy house that for some strange reason makes me talk like I'm in Crown Victorian and want to play some form of, I guess, harpsichord, is a very cool house that doesn't have an elevator for 3 floors, which is unheard of to me, because every single house I have that has more than 3 floors always comes with an elevator. But then again, after one of my Sims almost got killed in one of those things, I said to myself I wasn't going to install one, but I keep doing it anyway. I don't know why. I think I'm a glutton for punishment for these things. And the best thing about this house, folks, is the fact that it's on a 30 by 30 lot, but this house is so small on this lot, you can add anything else you want to it. And the fact that it also has black grass is a little suspicious, but we don't judge here. We don't judge here. And yeah, I almost forgot, if you decide to do a firefighter career here, you can add your own firefighter garage and technically can make a fire station and a living quarters right on the side of the house. So yeah, not even to destroy or interrupt the integrity of this said house, there you go. And it gives you plenty of room to add anything you want in it as well. And thank you, Maestro, for reminding me to actually say that, because this house is definitely a work of art. And I got a feeling the next time we do this, we may have to add our favorite house of the week out of all the houses that we talked about. And I think it would have to be a 3-way tie between the Victorial Bass Manor and I do believe Mansion de Famille. Yeah, mostly because it has its own horse stable and for some strange reason reminds me of a Barbie playhouse from old that my sister had. Not me. Just clarifying that for all of you listening out there. She owned it, I didn't. And not to mention, I saw 1,000 commercials with it, and that would be the last dollhouse she would ever own, too. After that, yeah, she definitely went away from the whole doll scene and more into video games. But I digress. Because if any of you out there want to check out any of these cool, lavish homes that we talked about for this week, you can head on over to the Sim Exchange page, only known as thesims3.com, and head right directly under that exchange page to check out a whole bunch of cool 8-bit houses that'll have your Sims having 8-bit caviar dreams and champagne wishes along with them. And we know we messed up the line, Maestro. We did it on purpose so we don't get sued by the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Yeah, just in case. Because they may be looking. They may be looking. And, wow. Maestro ringing the bell just before we were about to go into another part of the show. But, I guess those are the breaks. We gotta hit the old dusty trail and get things ready for madness for tomorrow's Under the Radar. So with that, folks, we bid you a fond farewell. But before we go, folks, if you miss anything, and I do mean anything, for this week's edition of Random Madness known as A Work in Progress, you can go ahead and check it out again one more time, all the time, on our SoundCloud, Facebook, or even Tumblr pages, all named the same, only known as Music Village Radio under the hashtag A Work in Progress 20. I can't believe we made it to 20 episodes of this random show that feels like a TV that's constantly on the change the channel mode with different subjects we keep bringing up. I feel proud. I really do. And if you guys want to figure out what other crazy and zany things that we still got prepared for this month of horror, like a TV remote that's got broke and is still flicking the channels in our head as we speak, you can go ahead and check it out on our Twitter/YouTube pages, still both named the same, only known as the 00 Agent 0012. And before we head out for the night, we would like to thank, as always, you, the fans out there, for listening into this random as all hell from out of nowhere edition of A Work in Progress. And I almost forgot to say random milestone edition of the show, too. So yeah, give yourselves a pat on the back and a round of applause for listening in to well over 20 episodes of this show. And here's the 20 more, or at least until we hit 1 year. You know, fingers crossed, and that's in 3 months. And we would also like to thank you, the independent artists out there, for delivering that musical goodness like you always do. And keep up the great work, guys, because your music inspires us to do crazy shows like this in the middle of the night that confuses the living hell out of everybody who listens in. But for those who are able to catch on and catch up and listen along with it, we thank you for that too. So keep that music coming, and we'll keep the crazy ideas going. And before we head out, also, we would like to thank our musical guest for the night, none other than Tekno AXE, with his song, Streetwalk Manifesto, that was featured during the intro and will be featured during the outro for this week's edition of A Work in Progress. And at this point, I would say it's our theme song for this said show. So, once again, Tekno AXE with a theme song featured for a show for one of our shows. Congratulations! And finally, last but not least, we would like to thank you, the independent gamers out there, for coming out with all those sweet video game hits, clips, and even high scores that we had a chance to mention during this week's show. And especially to you, Omargeddon, for knocking off the other guy off the top of the mountain, and here's hoping your reign lasts longer than a week. But chances are, it probably will, because I know a couple of people out there who are really hungry for that top spot and want to be the high score for the month for only about 3 days, depending on how many high scores we can mention within the next, 2 weeks? Yeah, within the next 2 weeks, maybe less. But while we try to figure that out, folks, I'm DJ Smokey on behalf of the Maestro with everybody thanks, saying, when there's smoke, there's fire, and we'll see you guys down the road, hopefully before a spooky Halloween edition of A Work in Progress. But until then, folks, we'll see you guys later, and good night, everybody.
Walk down the street, saying hello to the people I meet, and I'm killing my love underneath the sun, triggering down like the smoking gun. Yeah, I ain't got no plans, just a rusty voice and an empty gas can. My car's broken down a mile behind, and I've got my life set on rewind, baby. I ain't got no plans, just a rusty voice and an empty gas can. My car's broken down a mile behind, and I've got my life set on rewind, baby. Walk down the street, saying hello to the people I meet, and I'm killing my love underneath the sun, triggering down like the smoking gun. Yeah, I ain't got no plans, just a rusty voice and an empty gas can. My car's broken down a mile behind, and I've got my life set on rewind, baby. I ain't got no plans, just a rusty voice and an empty gas can. My car's broken down a mile behind, and I've got my life set on rewind, baby. Da 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 da